No, uh, uh, hi, hi, hello, chat. Hello, chat. I'll be honest. I thought I had my music open and I didn't. So, enjoy no music right now. Anyway, I hope you've been okay. I hope you've been okay. Fine. What do you mean finally? I bet. What? Look, it's been 2 minutes. It's been 2 minutes. It's literally been 2 minutes. The winner is you? No, I am the winner. I am the winner. Sorry, sucks to suck. I am just that cool. Acapella? Well, now that I couldn't find it, well, too bad me. I guess no extra music. Obviously, we've got new DML event stuff, so I do want to jump straight into it. There you go, you can have the wonderful DML music. Do you like that? You like the DML music, do you? Yeah? Yeah? Hi? Hi? You hope I'm okay? I hope you're okay, friend. Just opened your first chest and got 50 talismans. Pog champion, dude. Anyway, thanks for joining me here today, everyone. Get Apollo, I've already got Apollo. But thanks for joining me here today. Of course, the purpose of today is the new Divine Fest Marble and Sand, which is going to bring new divines, new dragons, and we've got other stuff that are happening at the moment. The Windows APA servers go down. APA always goes down at midday. I am so sorry. It is the DML way. But either way, we've got the game open here. So, of course, we log in. A new sigil season as well. So, we've got other stuff to do in game as well. Pull that 50 on my first 10. Yeah. Sure. Let's go do that. Either way, I will be going through general tips for this event. Just like what we've had before. Things like that. Let's not worry about arena. So when you first open up the game, the first thing you'll notice is that you've got a new pyramid on the bottom of your central island here. So if we open this up, we've got even the divines know that every beginning is difficult, so they gifted you 5 divine tickets to kickstart your progress on your epic divine journey. So that's nice. 5 tickets. 5 tickets aren't going to get you a lot, but it's a very nice blue color, which I will say. So when you first open the event, you're going to get this main event screen, which is Divine Fest Marble and Sand, Chapter 1, Week 1. And this is where pretty much everything can be accessed. But the dragons that we can get from this event, of course, we have a few different dragons. And mainly we'll be looking to get the dragons out of the Divine Altar. So these are the dragons that we've got. We've got Chrono Hades, who is a dragon I don't really suggest that you purchase. And then we've got Hephaestus, Artemis, Newt, and Osiris. But the thing is about Artemis and Newt is if you can collect these and the castle event dragons, then you will be able to get yourself Hathor as well. Because there is the Hathor Rising collection in which you'll see that to get Hathor, which has been available before, and it is a super strong exception divine. Not an exception ancient, but it is a divine. Shout out if you keep spamming, I'm going to ban you. But the 2 dragons you'll need, the divines, are of course that new Artemis dragon. And Artemis is a divine shadow and water dragon, so it can be really useful on a team. And then Newt is a divine energy and light dragon. So Newt has a lot of AoE attacks, so again that could be really useful in the dungeon. But those are the 2 new divine dragons. And then if you also manage to get the Cyclops dragon from the castle event, because there are going to be 2 castle events, if you can get Cyclops from one of the castle events, and if you can get the new pyramid dragon from the castle events, you'll also be able to get that, and then you'll be able to unlock Hathor. So you'll need all 4 of those dragons. You'll have to play both castle events, and you'll have to also unlock Newt and Artemis from the Divine Altar. So if we go back to the Divine Altar, we can just click through and get back here through that. You'll see that it says get pieces for each of these dragons. So if we wanted to go for Artemis, for example, because Newt's not available yet, then if we click get pieces, you'll see that you need to collect 1,200 talismans in order to get Artemis. And so, if you want to get Artemis, that's going to mean a lot of chest openings, just like last time. Cake Craze has not changed. I cannot wait to find out. But anyway, like I said, we need 1,200 talismans, and the way that you can get these holy talismans is by opening up the divine chests. So if we look at the divine chest, you'll see that there's pieces for the soft dragon, revelry, and runic. So that's going to be a new legendary for me, thank goodness. But every single chest that you open in this event, you can get up to 50 holy talismans per chest. So if you think, if you need 1,200 and you can get at max 50 in one chest, that's going to be a lot of chest openings. And the primary way that you can get more holy talismans, more tickets, is going to be dungeon, along with the events through this month, because it is going to be a full month. So, you have Newt Dragon. I'm not sure if I believe you, but you can check the drop rates for the rewards per 100 divine chests. So per 100 chests, you're expected to get just under 300 holy talismans. So basically that's going to be 400 divine chests, because if you get roughly 300 per 100, then that's going to be times 3. So yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's going to be 400 divine chests on average per divine, but again, you might take less, it might take more, but that's roughly what you'll be looking at per divine. But anyway, let's go and open up our first 5 chests. What do you think I'm going to get? Nothing? You think I'm going to get nothing? Nothing? Basically, if you were part of the original Divine Fest, it seems like this one is more or less the same so far. It's going to mainly depend on what the chest drop rates and things actually end up looking like. There we go! 50! 50 in our first 5. There you go. I'm just that good. I am just that good. Too good, too good. But anyway, yes, you can see that in each of these chests you can get 1, you can get 3, you can get 10, or you can get 50 in a single chest. And obviously every single time you get a 50, that's pretty huge, because that actually takes you quite close. So, very nice, very nice. I like it. And that's just in our first 5, for example. The other thing in these events to be aware of is that there is a talisman generator, like there are for all of the other major events. So you can buy this talisman generator, in which it gives you the ability to buy Chrono Hades, which I don't suggest you do. You can earn holy talismans, which is 1 holy talisman every 2 hours with a capacity of 12. So not very much. And it unlocks the premium milestone rewards in the event, which if you really want it, make sure you buy it when it's on sale. But if we do jump back into this event, of course, like I said, it's going to be a lot of dungeon grinding to get more tickets. On top of that, we're going to have a lot of other events going on as well. And to begin with, we have this collection as well for the puzzle dragon. So you'll need the revelry, runic, and vivid to unlock him. So he's the first collection. But of course, we've also got Cake Craze. And apparently this is exactly the same as it was before. So essentially with Cake Craze, you've just got to do recipes and things like that. So I'm actually going to re-roll all of these until we get legendary and epic ingredients, because in this event, you get the most points for doing legendary recipes, so the best thing to do is do legendary recipes. So for example, this one will bake, and then we'll need to get strawberries and this random circular sweet thing in order to get another 500-point legendary recipe done. So you'll see that if we check the milestones in this, this is how you get Vivid, but on top of that, there are quite a lot of tickets available in this as well. You'll see you get tickets for 100 points, 1.2k, 1.8k, 2.6k, and you get times 20 at 8.2k if you can make it. So, yes, you want to be doing Cake Craze, and any other events that come out during this month, you want to be doing them because they give you bonus tickets on top of the tickets that you should be getting through doing the dungeon, which is going to be a whole separate thing in itself. Am I reading chat? Yes. Yes, I am. Don't worry, I'm still reading it, but it's more important that I actually explain things to the newer players here. So this is Cake Craze, and honestly, this is as much as I can do right now because we've just got to wait for these recipes to reset. So I've got to wait an hour to come back, and then hopefully we'll get a good recipe, good ingredients, and then we'll be able to do it. But for example, I'm going to do this one because we're going to need epic ingredients as well. So win a side quest battle or conquer a mine. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Took all of like 2 seconds. So there we go, we'll claim that, and then that'll give us extra nuts. You know, it's nothing we've not ever seen before. We've seen Cake Craze, we complained about it before, but we're gonna have to do it if we want bonus tickets. DML isn't opening. If you're APA, it probably isn't. Sorry, APA always breaks at this time. So I'm feeling lucky that it's working for me at least. But anyway, that is the main event that's going on right now. But like I said, on top of that, you also need to be doing the bottomless dungeon. And in this dungeon, it's going to be like regular dungeon, but there is also the algae dragon available, of course. And in the dungeon shop, we don't have too much to note, but we do have a premium sigil chest. And give me that. Give me that premium sigil chest. You know what? Rare purity could have been worse. Could have been worse, so I'll take it. But either way, we need to be doing dungeon runs, because out of every chest you open up, they should be giving us divine tickets. So let's go and make sure that that is actually the case, because it has happened before where it's started off a little bit broken, but let's hope that doesn't happen. So to begin with, of course, in the dungeon, usually you want to prioritize both doing the tasks and also getting to a high KO count. But I would say mainly try and at least bump up your KO count so that you get the bonuses to begin with, and then you can fully focus on doing the tasks a little bit later. But making sure that you get these tasks done is super duper important if you want to get the highest amount of stepping stones for every run. You're done with DML. Hey look, it's just the server's having a little bit of an explosion. It happens, especially on APA. So at least you can watch me as I do it and make sure you're not missing out on anything, right? That's gonna be the copium for now. Will they give extra rewards when it comes back? Unlikely, unless you actually end up missing a long period of time. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna try and at least do a few of these dungeon hits for now. Get at least a few dragons deadied and killied, get some stepping stones. I'm not going to worry about it too much while I'm in the first few rounds. Again, it's mainly about going for total KO counts in the first sort of couple of dungeon runs, and then I'll start really focusing on the tasks, but you should do both. You should definitely do both. You see all my dragons are just dying because now my team is leveled up quite a lot compared to my other top, 12? Now they die. They die very quickly. If you buy the Divine Pass, do you unlock Chrono Hades immediately? No. That's something you really have to be aware with. With that premium milestone stuff, which we will also take a look at in a second, you don't automatically get Chrono Hades. You have to buy the shrine, and you have to then buy him with talismans, which means you'd be wasting those talismans on Chrono Hades instead of Newt and Artemis. So I really do not recommend that you buy Chrono Hades under like any circumstance. The other dragons are more useful, and those Newt and Artemis are needed for Hathor. So I really don't suggest you do that. It's all about the server. Yes, unfortunately, DML does have its server problems every now and then. So, you know, I hope they sort it out quickly for, you know, those of you out there that actually want to play the event. But in the meantime, obviously you can watch me and take some quick tips. If you've never seen an event like this before, let me know, because it can get a little bit overwhelming for brand new players. But essentially, just do the current active event and the dungeon. That's the main thing. As long as you're doing those two things, you should be okay. You don't know how my dragons do more than 1 trillion damage? The answer to that is Wonder Acceptance Divines and Ancients. Or Witchcraft Acceptance on the Ancient itself. It's a crazy combination, and trust me, as soon as you get Divines, it's, you'll understand. As soon as you get Divines, you'll get it. Before that, it is a lot of Purity Daredevil, but if you don't have any Divines or Ancients going into this event, you can use Wonder Acceptance on some of your defensive dragons that have like Earth, Water, and AoE attacks, I guess. You can use Wonder Acceptance on those so that your dungeon runs last a little bit longer. That way, you'll at least be getting some bonus points, right? After opening chests using tickets, you'll get talismans. Indeed. If you want to know how to get more holy talismans, what you have to do is you have to open up divine chests. And every divine chest will give you holy talismans inside, so that is how you get more of those. So you just need to be opening chests, opening chests, opening chests like crazy. That's what this event is about. Just chest opening, chest opening, chest opening. And the way that you can get endless amount of tickets, if you say finish the solo events or the cake craze or whatever it might be, it's to do the dungeon. Dungeon is super duper important during these weeks. Can anyone log in? Yeah, I can. I can. It's probably APA mainly. Unfortunately, APA is down again. So, sucks to suck, I guess. Which is good, Devil or Hierophant? Actually, neither of them. Especially since we've got a Divine event right now, I don't suggest you add a Legendary to your team right now. I highly suggest for you to see if you can get any Divines from this event and use those instead. Because having 2 Divines instead of 2 Legendaries is a much better team. They're harder to enchant, yes, but all things considered, it's worth it, especially for the, you know, Wonder Acceptance stuff. So, you know, you don't have to listen to me, but trust me, Wonder Acceptance is super duper good. What is the meaning of APA? It is the actual server. Like, I'm on EUR PC, you might be on APA Android, you might be on APA Windows, you know, or APA PC I should say. So, it's just the server, which is generally the Asian region. Which divine should you go for if you have Long Wang? I don't know, because at the same time, if you really want to get an exception divine in the form of Hathor, you probably should go for Newt and Artemis, but if not, Hephaestus is good for AoE. Well, he has an AoE attack, right? So you could use him too. But, you know, Light's also really, really good, so you could just use Newt. But anyway, opening up these dungeon chests, like I said, we went and done a singular dungeon run, and now it'll go on reset, and then we can do another one in a minute. But we'll get divine tickets in every single dungeon chest that we open up. So again, if we go and open up this next red chest, using our little baby algae dragon, again, another ×1. And so the higher tier chests will drop more divine tickets. So don't expect to just get ×1 tickets in every single chest. This green one here is going to give us ×3, for example. And of course, the main one that's going to give you the most tickets is going to be the purple chest at the end. So you want to be opening up that purple chest as many times as you possibly can. We have a blue chest here, and if I open up this one, that's given us ×5. But I believe that there's like different drops that you can get out of each of the chests, depending on luck, at least the blue ones and purple ones. So we've gotten a few more tickets now, but dungeon will be available again in 7 minutes time, so we'll come back in a second. And that means that now we can go back and open up a few more chests. Just a few more, not many, but a few more, right? Oh, we did get some soft pieces though. I really want to get soft unlocked as quickly as possible. And no 50 this time, but you'll see we got some ×1s, some ×3s, and some ×10s. So we'll keep stacking up the amount of talismans we have over time, and eventually we should be able to buy a few of the dragons. Last time I bought 4 dragons. Will we be able to get 4 this time? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I am lucky in the sense that I already have most of the pieces for Osiris. So him being at 97 out of 120 means I won't need very many for him. And with Hephaestus, I've got 17 pieces. So instead of it being 1200, it's going to be 1030. But instead of buying Hephaestus, I'm probably just going to make sure I get Artemis and Newt first. So that way I'm on the way to getting Hathor. That's my plan, and it's probably what I'd suggest a lot of other people to do as well. You can't log into DML? Again, I'm sorry APA server folks, but it looks like APA servers are down again. Hello Scar. You tried many times? Yes. If the APA servers are down, you might need to give it a little bit of time and log in in, say, 10-20 minutes, but it seems like it's having some problems right now. But anyway, that is the dungeon section. What I just did is basically what you'll have to do every 6 hours, a little bit less at the beginning, but every 6 hours, log in, get your dungeon stuff done. Or, if you want to gem a little bit and make sure that you get to a high KO count really high and get the bonuses, gem a little bit, just keep doing dungeon runs. That is the name of these divine events. Log in frequently to do cake craze, log in frequently to do dungeon runs. But the other thing to be aware of, I mentioned the shrine, are these milestone rewards. So there is a free section, and there's also a pay-only section. And so the top section is the free section, and the bottom section is the pay-only section. You'll see it's locked for me right now. So at certain milestones, you'll get different rewards. So portal gems, there's some divine tickets there, there's some gems here. Of course, in the pay section, there are some dragons, like the polar bear dragon. There's a breeding token for him. There's the flutterby dragon, which I already have. And then the main thing that interested a lot of players, of course, was at 3.4k, which was the ability to breed the legendary autumn dragon. But again, this is only in the pay section, and you do have to spend 3,400 talismans minimum to get him. But if you are super pay to win and have lots of gems and waste lots of them and get over 6.48 thousand talismans spent, you can also get 15 premium sigil chests. So any super pay to winners are probably going to be going for that one. And at 5.2k, there is the pay to win only sacred apple. But for free to play players, if you unlock at least 2 of the divines, you'll be able to get a free to play sacred apple, which will boost your dragons a little bit if they're already at max level. But aside from that, it's what we've seen before. It's sort of just like the Dragon Master Pass, except you spend talismans instead. So you have to actually spend the talismans. It's not how many you earn. So make sure you actually spend them before the end of the event. That would suck. Imagine if you collected them all and just never spent them. That would be pretty bad. Is it worth leveling a new Divine Dragon from this event to replace a level 75 Tai Zenrin? If you need water, then possibly, yes, because water's really important for a good dungeon team. Because remember, you need earth, you need water, you need... well, you don't have to have metal, you can have metal, but it's mainly water, earth, and an AoE attack, and ideally 2 divines, or 2 divine users, and an ancient. That's like the bare minimum for what you need. Can you get noticed? What do you mean? I told you I'm reading chat. I'm not ignoring chat. It's just I need to make sure that people know what's going on in these events. But if you do want to check every single dragon that's available during this, well, it says main rewards for the chapter, you can check them all in the bottom section here. I'm sort of covering up, but it does say main rewards for the chapter, and you'll see all these different dragons. So there's Verdant for some reason in here. Soft Dragon, of course, which is out of those chests. But you can take a quick look at all the dragons. Hathor, the one that began all this exception nonsense. Osiris, who's an altar dragon. Hephaestus being an altar dragon. But you can check all of their elements super easily in this screen. So for example, Hephaestus having fire and metal means he could be used in a dungeon team. But then at the same time, Newt having energy and light is also really good as well. Because light is super good AoE. And energy can be really useful for removing shields and things, so Newt could also be a really valid team member as well. But of course then Artemis and Osiris also have the benefit of having water, so they could also be used as well. You're trying to breed the Dragon of the Month, but nothing for 16 attempts? It happens. Sometimes you'll get super lucky with Dragons of the Week and Dragons of the Month, other times you won't. For example, right now we've got springtime, and you might breed it on your first attempt. It might take you 20. It's just one of those things where RNG can be really nice, or it can be really, really horrible. So, anyway, on top of that, let's open up these chests. We've got a new sigil map campaign, which I didn't actually finish the last one. It's the first one I've ever not finished. I think it's mainly because there's no proper rewards at the end, apart from, you know, the potential for some sigil chests, which... it's like, yeah, they're useful, but I just forgot to log in, honestly. Well, I didn't forget to log in. I forgot to log in and do my sigil map fights, is what happened. But, you know, it's the same old thing. Just doing the sigil map fights, but Wonder Acceptance beats everything anyway, so it's not really too crazy. Cost of Chrono Hades, I will go check that, but I believe it's 1400 and something. Chrono Hades is actually the most expensive dragon out of all of them. So if you think about the fact that Newt and Artemis are used for the Hathor collection, you would be much better off purchasing those two for less than what it costs. Not total, but each of them costs less than Chrono Hades does, which I don't get, but... Hydrate isn't working. Oh my goodness. I do have a drink here. If you want me to hydrate with drink, I do have it. Always have water beside me. Plus, I'm going pretty much water only at the moment. I did that a few years ago. It was actually really good, but you know, it's tough. It's like I like soft drinkies. I like some of them. But no, nothing but water for me. Get the reward doubler. I'm not going to purchase the reward doubler for the sigil map because, again, you can purchase this to get more trinkets and things like that. The reason I'm not going to buy this time, even though I've got nearly 600 gems, is because every single one of these gems up there is going to be used for the dungeon. Just like it was during Ancient Event, it's going to be the same thing. It's a much better use for me to use those gems on dungeon runs than it is for a sigil doubler that just gives me a few more trinkets. So, that's the general gist of how all of this divine stuff works. Remember, you've got to be logging in frequently for Cake Craze, doing these stupid recipes. Make sure you only go for epic and legendary items because you'll never need the rares and the uncommons if you're doing the legendary recipes. So, don't take any of the apples or the jelly, you don't need it. Just take the epic or legendary items. And just make sure you're logging in frequently, because trust me, if this is exactly the same as last time, which is what it looks like, and we still need to get up to 10k if you want Vivid, you are going to have to be on it all the time. All the time. Hello! Read the description for Artemis. I can read the Artemis description. And again, if you want to have easy access to the event screen, because I've seen people before go, I don't know how to access the event stuff. How do I see it all? How do I do it? Super easy. Just go below your island, click the pyramid. Easiest way of doing it. You can also go into the event section, but this is much simpler. But if you want me to read Artemis's description, fine. The Artemis dragon is a mystical protector of Dragonlandia's wild animals and female dragon trainers. This beautiful beast can be glimpsed in moonlit woods, but don't stare or you may not survive. That's kind of scary. That kind of freaks me out a little bit. How do you breed the autumn dragon? That's true. With the milestone rewards, there's going to be a limited time breeding token for the autumn dragon. And so it says you can breed it if you put together dragons that have fire, earth, water, and plant. And so you could use a lot of different combinations, all things considered. But, you know, if I have a combination like this, where it doesn't, well, if it gives us a set of elements and say it doesn't actually give us any guidance in game, I use my best friend DML Planner to help me out. Even though DML Planner usually doesn't have these done in advance, what I'm going to do is I'll give you a quick explanation or showcase of how I would do it, for example. So if I open up DML Planner, I'm going to open up a few different tabs of DML Planner here. So we've got DML Planner open, and we want to know how to breed the Autumn Dragon, for example, which is fire, earth, water, and plant. So first thing that you could do, you could check some of the old Dragon of the Month breeding guides, honestly, is one way. But what we want to do, fire, earth, water, for example, we could check which dragons have 3 of the elements, and then pop a singular common dragon in as another option. So fire, earth, water, and what was the other one? Plant, right? So we could use, say, an elemental plus plant dragon, and we could try that out in DML Planner. So let's go. Let's have a quick look at what this brings up. DML has saved your marriage and your entire life. Exactly. DML Planner you can use to just check combinations for like how many possible outcomes and things there are. It's just really, really useful overall. So again, we've checked this combo, so this is one combination of elements, or we could take out the water and pop in plant, for example. So then we'd be going orange plus water as another option. Assuming I'm not looking at the wrong combo here, right? So then we'd have this amount of possible outcomes. I just want to make sure. So it does take a little bit of like backwards and forwards for me putting together like breeding guides and checking them when it's not automatically calculated, for example. But this is just an insight into how I do it. Is it hard to not spam apparently? Hi! Hello, how you doing? Stary. But yes, fire, earth, water, and plant. So again, there's so many different combinations you could use, but it's better to use a 3-element with a singular element dragon almost always. So already we've got orange plus water, elemental plus plant, for example. And then if I pop back into my codex here, which is what I usually use, we could take a look at these three. So then another combo could be, say, Kitsune plus fire. I'm just showing you the different possible combinations you could use in order to breed that autumn dragon here. So, for example, this one has up to 7 possible outcomes, but you'll see that 2 of those are avocado and panda. So then orange candy tree gave melon is not many possible outcomes. So elemental plus plant looks like a pretty good one. And then this one here has more possible outcomes, but most of them have pretty short breeding times. So again, elemental plus plant has longer overall breeding times, but less outcomes. And orange plus water has more possible outcomes, but shorter breeding times. So, something else to keep in mind, and again with Kitsune plus fire, we've got 7 outcomes, but there is the really long possible breeding time for the orange dragon. So, all things considered, they're probably roughly around about the same in how useful they are, but this is just some of the possible outcomes that you could use. The elements that come later plus the most primary ones provide the best combo. Yes, usually that is the case. Is there a combo that I haven't checked yet? I'm trying to think. If we go back in game, because obviously I'm switching around the elements and trying different ones together. Is it this one? It would be this one, right? Yeah, we could say use agave plus earth would be another one, right? Agave plus earth. And so if we do this, again, there's quite a few outcomes, quite a few high breeding times as well. 4 hours, 3 hours, 12 hours. So there's a few different options that you've got. You're confused about the divine altar, can I explain it? Yep, I did go through this earlier, but for anyone that's just joined or just joined recently, essentially with the event, if you want to get to the main event screen, just click the pyramid and then we've got the divine altar. And so you'll see that from me opening up divine chests, I got some holy talismans out of them. And you can see the holy talisman count in the top right hand corner. And so these are the amount of talismans that you have. So if we click on the divine altar and say you wanted to purchase Artemis because it's part of the Hathor collection, you click get pieces and then you exchange your holy talismans for pieces of Artemis. So if I wanted to right now, I could exchange 10 holy talismans for a singular piece of Artemis if I wanted to. In fact, I'll do it right now just to show you 10, and then that gives me a singular piece of Artemis. So the idea is, if you want to purchase all the pieces, which it gives you the option to, you'll need to save up to 1,200 holy talismans for every single dragon. So to do that, you'll have to do the events and you'll primarily have to do the dungeon as well. So that is how you get it. Should you come back to play with this event? If you don't have any divines, I highly suggest that you do take part in this event, because even if you don't pay any money, I'm probably not going to be buying the shrine this time, for example, so I'll be doing this technically free to play, but I am VIP 20, so I do get benefits for it. But essentially, I'm not going to be putting in any purchases right now. If I do change my mind, I'll let you know, but I'm not going to be purchasing Clam, I'm not going to be purchasing any breeding dens or the shrine or anything like that. So, even if you are someone that doesn't want to put in any money, you should be able to, at the very least, get 2 dragons. And that's like as an absolute minimum, assuming your dungeon team doesn't completely suck. So you should be able to get Artemis and Newt and unlock Hathor. Should being the key. But it does mean that you have to be really, really diligent with your dungeon stuff. How to get more tickets. I did show this before, but essentially the best ways to get more tickets are going to be make sure you're doing every event, because we've got craze right now, which gives bonus tickets, quite a lot of bonus tickets, but the primary way you're going to get the most tickets is doing dungeon, because every single dungeon chest that you open up is going to give you more divine tickets. You use the divine tickets to open chests, which give you holy talismans. So, for example, my next dungeon run is ready, so I'm going to throw my dragons back in here, and we're going to do some more dungeon. Do the holy talismans transfer for chapter 2? Yes. So if you want to only use your talismans on the chapter 2 dragons, go ahead. But do remember that Hathor collection requires Newt and Artemis. So if I was going to give any advice, I would highly suggest that players try and finish off that Hathor collection. But you do also have to finish both castle event bits. So you'd have to do both castles and get Newt and Artemis, which is possible. It's definitely doable free to play as well. But, well, that's assuming that the castle event isn't pay to win. Which, if it is, people will riot. So, let's hope that that doesn't happen. Let's go watch the dragons go kill themselves in the dungeon. Hell yeah. That's what I'd like. But if you are wondering, should you just purchase tickets outright if there's ever an option? No. I wouldn't suggest for you to purchase tickets to open divine chests outright. Your best bet is to use it on dungeon resets. And again, that's if your dungeon team is okay. If your dungeon team really, really sucks, as in there's no AoE in it, there's no earth and water, then you might have to make a reconsideration. But if you've got a team that can grind the dungeon somewhat, like my team, then definitely you want to be grinding the dungeon. So using your gems on dungeon resets instead of anything else. That's going to be your best usage of gems, so don't waste them on the sigil campaign or other things that you really don't need them for. Just save them for the dungeon. It still isn't friendly for lower level players. You can't do super long runs in the dungeon as a lower level player, you're right. But what you can do is you can make the best team possible for you, so at least you can get a couple of divines. So rather than you aiming to get all 4 divines, maybe you should at least aim for the main 2 in this event, and then you can just go from there. Because, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere. Your team's not going to be perfect from day one, right? So make sure you at least get 1 divine. If there is anything you want to get out of this event, just 1 singular divine is so big on a team. Getting 2 is the ideal, so an AoE, so Newt and Artemis would be fine for that. But you really need to get at least 1 divine if you don't have one already. That should be your absolute bare minimum looking at this event. Just 1 divine. Just 1 divine, just 1 minuscule divine, 1 little divine. How am I? I am okay. I am okay. How to get Artemis? The same way that you get all of the other altar dragons, you need to collect holy talismans, and then you go into the divine altar, and then you need to exchange 1200 holy talismans in order to unlock Artemis. It's the same way that you get all of the other altar dragons. Artemis or Osiris, it literally doesn't matter. Whichever one you prefer the look of, but since Artemis is involved in that Hathor collection, probably take Artemis. Any tips for how to get more collective milestone? What do you mean? Sorry, collective milestone. I'm not sure what you mean. do you mean in the Shrine Milestone? Because for the Shrine Milestone, you just need to spend Holy Talismans. So you just need to collect and use a lot of Holy Talismans. That just means, how do you get Holy Talismans, basically. Yeah, Wynn's vaping animation, we don't talk about that. I don't know why they did that, but they did. What's the castle event card piece, Divine? There are 2 castle events, and there's going to be Hermes and Anubis in each of the parts. So obviously, if we are going with... What is the first part? It's Greek, isn't it? First part is the Greek part, so we'll be getting Hermes first and then Anubis. But yes, the castle event is not this week. This week we have Cake Craze. Then it's going to be castle event, and then it will probably be another mini event that I've forgotten which one it is. I don't remember. Could someone remind me which one it is? It says it in the server. We'll probably go and check the server event schedule just to make sure. But then we'll have another castle event after that. So, 4 weeks. 4 weeks of grind. 4 weeks of a lot of grind, basically. Lots and lots of grind. Dragon Collector Milestone? What, is in DCP? If you want more DCP, there's no quick fire way of really doing that. You just have to breed more dragons. So, you know, finishing off your codex can really help with that. That's the only real thing that you could do to boost your DCP apart from leveling up, enchanting. I don't really suggest wasting resources on leveling up just for DCP. You're much better off just breeding things and collecting things from events. Do you think they'll add ancient and divine sigils eventually? I certainly hope not. They might do, but I certainly hope that they do not. Because it's already way too difficult for the average player to, even if they pay, get legendary sigils, but those that don't spend, well, good luck. Most of them don't even have epic sigils. And trust me, the total cost for everything is ridiculous when you get above epic. It's nutty. Boss challenge, yeah, I thought it might have been, but I didn't want to say anything just in case it wasn't. But yes, essentially we're going to have mini event, castle event, mini event, castle event. But the mini events still give you lots and lots of divine tickets and things like that, so you should definitely still be doing them. That's coming from me, someone who absolutely despises Cake Craze, and I know I've got to do it if I want all the tickets that I have. Are divines better than ancients? Overall, I would say they're more useful, as in more necessary for a team than ancients, but both are necessary for the best teams. As in, if you had a choice as a new player, in a, like, make-believe world where you only had a choice between one divine or one ancient, I would take the one divine, because the bless boost from Wonder Acceptance is a hell of a lot more important than the ancient boost. So, to start off a team, to make a good team foundation, you need a divine first, and then you can add an ancient in there, and then you can build from there, if you get what I mean. Full stats of Artemis and Newt. We can check it in game, I believe, but I don't know if it's 100%. Because the reason I don't go through and say that anymore until the wiki also updates is because we've had it before where they've released it in game and their stats are completely wrong, and then they've changed it mid-event. So maybe that's me being a little bit of a negative Nancy, but since that's happened before, I tend to just not harp on the actual base stats for them. All that you need to know is that it's not going to be as high as Hathor. So, I talk too much. Imagine saying that someone streaming and explaining things is talking too much. Imagine being that wrong. Crazy. It's like you don't understand what actual content creation is. Would you rather me just sit here, never say anything, and just go, dragons? Yeah, is that what you want me to do? Because I could do that, but guess what? I actually value people in the audience, so I'm not just gonna sit here like a bloated blow up doll and not do anything. The stats for the divines are normal. Yeah, I believe they were, which is why I would say if you're trying to decide between Osiris and Artemis, just take Artemis. Because, again, they're actually going to have, you're going to be able to unlock Hathor if you take Artemis, but you won't with Osiris. So Osiris, I feel kind of bad, because there's not really any reason for people to take Osiris instead of Artemis. So it feels kind of bad. What is easier to breed, Pixie or Siren? They're around about the same, I believe. Neither of them are really particularly difficult, but, you know, neither of them are particularly useful either, so. It's almost like the streamer wants viewer retention. I know, crazy, right? It's crazy that I actually value the audience and I don't want to bore them to death. Wow, that's absolutely crazy. Anyway. When you are opening these chests, I will point out now, because this happened during last Divine Fest, and it was kind of cringe, but a few people, when they were opening these chests, they were taking dungeon tokens instead of tickets. Do not ever do that. Always take the tickets. If you want the best chances of getting all of the divines and things, and all the things from this event, make sure the only thing you're picking is the tickets, or if you say get 100 gems, take the gems. The reason you would take, say, 100 gems over some tickets is because you can use those gems to do more dungeon runs. So if you can make back those tickets with 100 gems, say, which you should be able to, definitely go for it. Batman, hello! But yes, here we go. When we go through and do our dungeon runs, we will get ourselves more and more tickets. So every single chest that you open up during this event will net you more tickets. So this red chest, more tickets. Give me more tickets, more and more and more tickets. And the more tickets you open, the more holy talismans you're gonna get, and the higher your chances are gonna be of getting every single divine in the event. So make sure you're on that dungeon, make sure you're on that cake craze, and that's all that there really is to it. It's not super complicated, it's just there's lots of different screens and lots of different parts, and it might get confusing to newer players. Check the dungeon store. I did check it earlier. I actually bought it, bought one of the things out of it, because there's gargoyle pieces, wizard, verdant as well, which I've already got. But on top of that, there's kitty pieces and a sigil chest. So I bought the premium sigil chest. Nothing else really intrigues me or is useful, so get your premium sigil chests and probably just dip out. You finished the soul event 21 seconds before the Divine Fest. Now that is, that's cutting it close. That is definitely cutting it close. You're just here for a second, black hole. Understandable. But if you do want to get more gems during this event, hi AFC as well. If you do want to get more gems, do be aware, like I said, you can get lots of gems from doing dungeon things, but you need to, during these weeks, really gauge whether it's worth taking the gems or the tickets. And Bumblebee! Not the bees! Not the bees! But the other way to get more gems, of course, is things like ruins. You should always, always, always be doing your ruin explorations, because obviously, if you don't have Kronos unlocked, you want to get Kronos unlocked. But on top of that, we didn't get lucky here, but you do have the chance of finding gems in every single exploration that you do, and trust me, the amount of gems that you can get for free just by doing ruin exploring, is crazy. You get so many gems total just by doing more ruins, more ruins, more ruins. So I only hope that you can keep up in terms of your dragon level, in terms of how many ruins you're exploring, but that's a way to get more gems during these events. Also, don't forget, I am going to pop in I'm actually going to pop in 30-minute food, because we've got the what's it called, the cake craze stuff that might ask us to collect food out of it. But also remember that you can get gemmies out of Otto's Lotto. You can also get a very small amount of stepping stones out of watching ads as well. Mohammed, thanks for joining us here today as well. Do I have axolotl? I believe so. but you can get gems out of Otto's Lotto as well. If you're a new player, you can get a lot from achievements. Burris Ban! Thanks for joining us here as well. But yes, make sure that if you are a newer player and you haven't done, say, some of your quests and you haven't done most of your achievements, make sure you're doing those because these give lots and lots of bonus gemmies. A lot. The other way that you could do it is by getting lots of referrals, and getting lots of referrals is really difficult. Obviously, I've gotten nearly 500 now, but if you can manage to find some people and they get up to level 15, you do get 10 gems for every single referral, which is pretty nice as well. So that's another way that you can get some bonus gems during events like this, or anytime really. It doesn't have to be during Divine Fest, but that's another way to get some more gemmers. Of course, you can buy gemmers. If you ever are going to buy gemmers, I'd suggest you buy the clam when it goes on sale. So not right now. When it goes on sale, it's like £2. Super cheap. One of the best value deals in the game. You can also buy the Dragon Master Pass when it's on sale, which has some gems in it, but not a whole lot. But there's a lot of different ways that you can get gems in preparation and during these events, just to make sure that you can keep doing dungeon runs and doing more and more and more and more dungeon stuff over and over again. It's me! Is it worth to try and breed Hierophant? I mean, really it would have been better if you bred Hierophant before, but one thing I will say is you do not want to be leaving Hierophant to be bred during the castle event, because your breeding den during the castle event will be full the whole time. So if you still need Hierophant, and say maybe you got some of the extra den relics, because I got a lot from the daily login screen, for example, breed it now. Because otherwise, you're not really going to have a good chance to breed Hierophant, and you need it for the yearly collection. So if you are going to breed it this week, maybe in your second den, because you've got to remember Craze sometimes asks for breedings and things like that as well. Is Artemis only available for 2 weeks? If it goes the same way as the previous event, then no. It says time remaining for the whole Divine Altar is 28 days, so it should mean that every single dragon in here remains here for the entire duration of the event. That's what it should do. And I'm going to assume that it's the same as last time, and that means that you can save up all of your holy talismans, and say you just hoard up to 2,400 talismans, say you don't buy Hephaestus, just don't buy Artemis, and you can buy Newt and Osiris straight away. But Hephaestus and Artemis should still be available for the whole duration of the event, just like Newt and Osiris will be when they unlock in the second chapter. So even though it says available in 13 days, 11 hours for those two, I'm pretty sure every dragon should be available for the whole duration of the event, technically. You were placing food and accidentally placed the 2-day one? Yeah, that's something to be really, really aware of. Oh god, I hate the fact that you have to purchase Chrono Hades after you've already purchased the shrine. It's so bad. But yes, in your farms, do not put in long food timers. Otherwise you'll screw yourself over during the events. Don't put in super long breeds, unless, like I said, say you've got a second breeding den, so that you don't screw over your other events. And if you really want to go for Hierophant, I'd probably suggest you do it in a second den. But don't put in super long breeding times during the castle event. Don't put in super long food during the castle event. You know, basic event stuff, but people do forget or they misclick, and then they really suffer, which is not good at all. How many holy talismans are worth per Chrono Hades? I believe Chrono Hades is the most expensive dragon in the altar, and I believe he's about 1,400 and something. I don't remember exactly. Oh, Requiem, you're following me on Twitch. I see. Very cool. Thanks. But yes, Chrono Hades is the most expensive. I really don't think you should purchase him. Your main goal should really be Artemis, plus Newt, plus the castle dragons. Because again, if you purchase, or well, yeah, if you purchase them with holy talismans, I'm not saying IRL money, but if you get them with talismans, and plus you do both castle events, you can get yourself a free Hathor. And just like with the first Divine Fest, how we got Freya, you want to be getting a bonus dragon for basically no extra cost. And plus it is an exception divine. So that means that Hathor does have higher stats than, you know, your basic divines. Yo. Is the generator worth buying? The generator is mainly useful if you want to unlock milestone rewards, because the amount of talismans it generates is so minuscule, it won't be the deciding factor between whether you get a divine or not. The main thing it does is unlock these milestones. So I would say if you really need, say, some of the relics out of here, and you also don't have, say, the Autumn Dragon, you don't have Flutterby, or you don't have Polar Bear, and you want them, then purchase the shrine now while it's on sale, because it only stays on sale for a short time usually. So if you do want it, and plus the sooner you buy it, the more talismans you'll be generating. So the sooner you buy it, the better off you'll be. But the only time I would really suggest you buy it is if you don't have the other dragons in the milestones, like Flutterby and that. If you do have them, like for me, I've already got Autumn, I've got Flutterby, and I've got Polar Bear. So to me, I'd just be buying it for a few extra benefits, and I don't think that's really worth it. So keep that in mind. Yes, don't buy the generator at full price. Buy it, if you are going to buy it sooner when it's on sale. Don't buy it at full price. Definitely not. If you've left it that long, I would just not do it at all. Dragon Noz. Oh yeah, we got some more tickets. Let's open some more tickets. Or let's open some more chests. Chests. Some more chests. A 50? Another times 50? No, we actually got pretty destroyed this time. Just times 3s and times 1s, and you know, it can happen. You can get absolutely wrecked. Vortex, thanks for joining us here. But yeah, sometimes you'll get times 50s, other times you'll get times 1s for a lot of chests. It happens, but don't forget you'll also get the other dragons from the chests like Runic and Revelry. And for me, I mainly want to get that soft dragon finally. But also don't forget that for every 20 chests that you open, you will get a free chest. I thought it was every 10, or am I going crazy? Have they upped that? I don't know, but either way, for every 20, you can open one free chest. So you can, if you left it all, technically you could keep a count of how many chests you've opened up. I've just opened that one, but if you want to keep a count of how many chests you've opened total, you can just not collect that until the end of the event. Which is what I did during the Ancient event. So if you were here for Ancient event, it's more or less the same thing, but just with more mini events in between. And instead of it just being reliant on chests, you've got to rely on opening chests to get talismans. So there's just an extra layer. You only get 1 times 50? Yeah, I'm used to that luck with this game, aren't I? Your clam only gives 800. Yes, the clam does go between 2 different deals. You'll see that this one gives 1600 and there's a lower value clam. And the on sale clam, I believe, is always 800. Unless it's the... Is it the first clam you purchase that's on sale? I think is the higher gem total amount. But outside of that, now for me, I only get times 800 on sale deals. But when it's not on sale, you'll see it's 1600 for me for £16.74. I wouldn't really suggest you buy this. How long is this event going on? You can check this by going into, well, the quickest way is in the altar. Total, the grand total event is 28 days long. Just like Ancient events, so it lasts a while. And in those 4 weeks, you will be basically constantly grinding dungeon and the mini events. Beginner's luck to give me false hope. Oh, I don't have any hope, honestly. After the way I got treated during Ancient event and like the last 6 years in this game in terms of opening up chests, I don't care for times 50s too much. Do I prefer Ancient Dragonboard event or Divine Fest? I think Divine Fest, even though it's really, really boring and really, really dungeon reliant, I think it's a lot more free-to-play friendly and a lot more not pay-to-win friendly than the Ancient event is. It's a lot less RNG in terms of relying on big chest drops. So for that reason, I do prefer Divine Fest. And plus, the benefit of Divine Fest is that you get to choose which dragons you want, rather than like in Ancient event, the collection dragon is just the collection dragon. It is what it is, you get that if you finish the collection. But in this, you get to pick which one you want. So. Why can you store your duplicate Divine Event dragons and make the event easier? What? I'm not sure what you mean. You can't... I'm not sure what you mean by store your duplicate Divine Event dragon. I haven't mentioned anything about any duplicates. What I have said is for Osiris, I've got 97 pieces for Osiris, for example. Or, let's use Hephaestus since he's actually available right now. So, normally a dragon would cost 1200 holy talismans, but because I've got 17 pieces of Hephaestus from a previous event, that means that grand total he's going to be less expensive. So instead of costing 1200, he'll cost 1030. I've already got a few pieces for him. So that's not like you have a duplicate, therefore it's easier. It just means if you've already got pieces for them, it's going to be cheaper to purchase them with talismans. That's all. Yeah, plant is not the most useful element anymore, unfortunately. But yes, this is the new Divine event. New Marble and Sand, Chapter 1, Week 1. Remember, we're going to have Cake Craze this week, then it's going to be Castle event the week after, another mini event, and then we're going to be back to a Castle event again. You can get a second Osiris. You can go crazy. If you get a crazy amount of Holy Talismans, you could buy 6 Newt dragons if you wanted to. Artemis dragon is very hard. No. I mean, Artemis, Hephaestus, Newt, and Osiris are exactly the same difficulty to get a hold of. And trust me, even free to play, you should at the very, very, very minimum be able to get 1 divine, if not 2. So you should be able to get Hathor as long as you are grinding the dungeon and grinding out the events. You can do that free to play. Do I already have Hathor? I don't. So that's actually a new dragon for me. How to get Hathor? If you want to get Hathor, you'll need to collect all of the dragons from his Hathor Rising collection. So if you go into the events screen and click it, you'll see it says hatch and place these dragons before time runs out and win the unique Hathor dragon. So to get Hathor, you need to unlock and hatch the Artemis dragon, which is in the altar. You need to hatch the Newt dragon, which is in the altar. And then you need to hatch the Cyclops and Pyramid dragons, which are the castle event dragons. They're available in the 2 different castle events. So you need to play both castle events, and you need to unlock Newt and Artemis from the altar. And then you will unlock yourself Hathor. Do I have Oya? I do not. I call him he because it's like how my Nezha is a she. Canonically for me, he is a she. I mean, he is a he and Nezha is a she. He is a she. How many talismans will you get in a day if you buy the talisman generator? Not very many. Not very many. It does tell you in game. If you purchase the talisman generator, you'll get, it's got an earning rate of one talisman every 2 hours with a capacity of 12. So, that's 12 a day. 12 talismans a day, that's it. It's not very many, is it? No, it's not. It's really not very many. And then you could say that's 12 by 28 days, right? Still not very many. You can have 2 Hathors? No, I don't believe so. From the collection events, you can only get 1 singular copy of a dragon. So even if you managed to get 2 Artemis dragons and 2 Newt dragons, you wouldn't be able to get 2 Hathors. And plus, how would you get 2 Pyramids and 2 Cyclops dragons anyway? You wouldn't be able to, so you can only get 1. Unless you mean if you already have a Hathor, you can get a second. In which case, yes. If you've already got a Hathor, you can get a second one from this event. Which, I don't see what benefit you'd gain. Just having 2 Hathors is pointless, but if you really wanted to, you could. What if you miss an event dragon? What do you mean by miss an event dragon? You like castle events because you always finish them, so you guarantee every dragon. Well, that's good. Is Newt's dragon OP? I wouldn't say Newt is OP. Remember, apparently these two have regular stats, so still means their stats are quite high because they're divines, right? But Newt does have light and energy, which means they're really useful as an AoE user in, say, the dungeon and for map clearing, things like that. But if you really, really need divines with, say, water and earth to finish off your team, and you've already got AoE, then Newt might not be suitable for you. But still, having a divine with light and energy, still super good, honestly. So probably still worth getting Newt if you need any AoE whatsoever. Super worth getting Newt. And Artemis has healing. So if you've already got, say, one of the Earth Ancients, you could also take Artemis. And then you'd have an Earth Ancient, which isn't always ideal, it depends on the full team, but you could have an Earth Ancient, a Water Divine, and an AoE Divine. And that would already have you like a somewhat of a team, just from taking the main 2 dragons from this event. So, do you recommend using Hathor in a team? Yes and no, because Hathor having really high base stats obviously makes its bless really, really... You want a really high stat bless when you're using Wonder Acceptance, right? And Hathor does indeed have light. So you could, say, if you did end up getting both of those dragons and unlocking Hathor, you could ignore Newt and just ignore energy if you wanted to, and just say use Artemis plus Hathor would be a possibility, right? And then you'd have a really strong bless, really strong light attack, and then you'd also have water. That's a possibility for a team as well. So, if you don't have any divines, Hathor is definitely a possibility to use for the AoE light. But again, it depends on your full team, depends on a lot of different factors, but you could definitely use it. You have a doubt, please clear this. Can we get talismans in every 1 ticket draw? Yes. I'm pretty almost certain, like 100%, that in every single chest you're gonna get at least 1 holy talisman. Every chest you'll at least get 1 holy talisman, but you could get 50 in every chest. That's the same as before. If you don't have a good dungeon team, try and make one quickly, because it's going to be 4 weeks, right? It's going to be 4 weeks of events, it's going to be 4 weeks of dungeon, right? Which does mean that technically, you've got 4, well, let's say about 3 weeks to fix your dungeon team. Because you could just use lots of gems in the final week if you wanted to grind the dungeon then, right? But if you don't have a good dungeon team, at least try and put an okay one together, even if it's just using epics for now. Again, you could use Wonder Acceptance sigils with a Water Earth dragon and an AoE dragon, and at least then you'd have somewhat of a dungeon team going, right? If you don't have divines or ancients, that's really all that you can do. So just grind as much as you can. See what you get, see if you get some nice 50s, things like that. What are the talismans used for? Talismans are the primary currency of this event, and they're used to purchase dragons in the Divine Altar. So you need 1,200 holy talismans per dragon. Which legendary dragons do I recommend on a team? None. You shouldn't be using them on a team. Especially since we've got this divine event right now. Use the divines that you get. If you buy the talisman generator, do you get the divine dragon? No. If you buy the generator, you still have to purchase Chrono Hades. Do not purchase Chrono Hades. Don't buy the shrine thinking that you'll automatically get Chrono Hades. Because it says unlocks the Chrono Hades dragon. But what it actually means is you unlock the ability to buy Chrono Hades. I think this is really, really misleading, actually, on this screen. Because just like last time, you have to buy the shrine, which is £3, and then you have to use your talismans to also buy Chrono Hades. So I really do not suggest that you go for Chrono Hades. I'm saying it now, because people did it for Erlang Shen last time, and didn't realise why they got pretty much nothing out of the event. Don't buy Chrono Hades, okay? If you are gonna buy him, make him the last dragon you buy out of this altar, because he's the most expensive. From where can you get chest tickets? You can get more tickets from the event. So for example, we can get them from Cake Craze. Oh, we got strawberries already. Very nice. I do have a breed going on in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an extra consumable for my extra dem. And all it says is just breed dragon. So we can use a super, super low timer, which of course is going to be fire and wind, right? Wing? Wind! What I want is fire and wind, not fire and wing. And so I'll just breed these two, we'll come back, and I'll be able to finish off that strawberry quest. So you can get lots and lots of tickets from Cake Craze, but the primary way you're going to get lots of tickets is through doing the dungeon. Because every dungeon chest gives you tickets, which you can then get talismans from. Is Hephaestus a good dragon? He's okay, but a lot of people prefer the light element as an AoE element, so you're probably better off taking Newt instead of Hephaestus. What's better, DML or Dragon City or Dragon's World? I think all of them are bad in their own ways. There's none that are truly better than the other. Honestly, that's my honest thoughts. Genuinely, well and truly. I do not lie about that. Dragon City has some things that are better than DML. DML looks a lot nicer than Dragon City for me. Dragon's World is kind of just... it gets very boring very quickly. So... what is my friend code? My friend code is add2. But again, I'm on EURPC, so if you're not on the same platform and server as me, you won't be able to add me in-game anyway. But that's my code, and obviously if you're lower than level 15, you can also use it and recruit, or use the as a recruitment code and give me free gems. That's also a possibility. I like free gems. I really do. Is Hathor nice for a team? Like I just said before, you can use Hathor because if you've got the choice between Newt and Hathor, you might want to use Hathor for the higher tier Bless, and you might lose the energy element, but the higher tier Bless and you've still got light, so it's probably worth using Hathor instead. Which divines do I recommend on a team? I've already been through that, but again, you can use any divines that you need to finish off a dungeon team, which is AoE attack, and it's me, thanks for joining us. AoE attack, earth, water. So if you can make a team that uses divines with elements that have those in it, then do it. And luckily for us, Hathor has light and Artemis has water, so you could use those two on a team. You only get 500 stepping stones in dungeon with your 2 level 40 dragons should you gem dungeon. Isn't there a way for you to make your team a little bit better? Like, can't you add a 3rd dragon? Because again, it's a good idea to try and even out the levels, especially if you've got lower level dragons just for the event periods, and then outside of the event periods, you can like fully focus on the map, things like that. But you've got a couple of weeks where you can still work on your team, and then gem the dungeon when you make it a little bit better for the dungeon. That's probably what I would recommend to anyone that's getting like 500 stones. That's not really going to be enough. Plus, make sure that when you are doing the dungeon, you are focusing on the tasks. Because a lot of people just play the dungeon, but they don't really look at the tasks. If you're looking at the tasks and making sure that you're doing the tasks, that's the primary way that you're going to get the most stepping stones. So make sure you focus on doing those. Again, the first couple of rounds, I'd say KO count's just as important, but focusing on the dungeon tasks is really, really important. Hi, Arnab! How many dragons do I have? I can go and check for you. Different species, I have 662. Is what I have. 662. How can you store habitats in inventory in the new update? You can't. If you wanted an answer, you can't. They broke it. They literally broke it. You can no longer store your habitats in your inventory anymore. Don't know why. I would say it's an oversight and a bug. I would hope so, because if that was intentional, then that is like one of the worst gameplay decisions I have ever seen. It is so bad that in a game where people have to put down lots and lots of habitats, they don't give you an option to store it. Is Seth's Dragon good for a team? Not anymore. Honestly. You'd be better off with the divines from this event. His elements just... They're not good enough anymore. They're not as useful as some of the other options. You haven't stored any habitats? Well, good luck, now that there's literally no way to store them. So, check the bundles. Okay, I'll go and check them in a second. I'll check them in a second. And Nama, hello! Thank you for joining us today. Let's check the bundles then, see if there's anything going on. Planet, as usual, Vivid. Dungeon bundles, I don't recommend you buy these. You'd be better off gemming the dungeon, assuming your team isn't horrible. But you wanted me to check this with the King Dragon? I mean, it's a legendary that before was available in the Dragon Master Pass for $3. Well, £3. And now they're charging, you can't see it, but £25. You do get 50 tickets. But guess what? You could get 50 tickets for a lot less than £25. So, this deal is not a deal, and it's not a steal. It's horrible. This is a terrible, terrible bundle. Do not buy it. The fact that we know, or there was a way to get King before for like £3, and now they're charging £25 for him, just makes it all the more ridiculous, honestly. Yeah, you do not have to spend money here to at least, at the very minimum, get 1 divine. Even to get 2 divines, I believe it's doable completely free to play. If you want to get more than that, it might cost you quite a few gems, so I hope you saved up. But even if you haven't, being able to get the 2 main divines from this event to get Hathor, that will really, really set you up for a lot of success in game. But then, assuming you do get Newt and Artemis, then you're gonna need to get Wonder Acceptance Sigils, so good luck with that. Is Harpy, Magician, and Devil a good team? No. So it's got legendaries in it. I don't know how else to tell you, but they're legends, so no. What's the difference between Chrono Hades and normal Hades? Think of it as just a completely different dragon. As different as Newt is to Artemis, it's just a different dragon. That's all. It was just part of the tiny events, so it's got a little bit of lore to it. That's the only difference, really, and different elements. What's my second favorite dragon? Halcyon. My favorite is Baby Yoshi, followed by Halcyon. I think. That's what I'm going to say for now, anyway. Am I expecting Hathor? I should be able to, assuming I'm actually logging in frequently and doing all the stuff that I should be doing. If I don't, then you know that I just don't care enough, right? Or technically, I could get really busy during this time period. That can also happen, which can completely stunt your event progress. Some people just don't have a life that allows them to be able to grind the game. I could have just left it as some people just don't have a life as well. That's also true. Some people don't have a life, and some people don't have a life that allows them to do the events. So, you know. Pengu, Artemis, and Newt be a good team? No, you don't need 3 divines. See, 3 divines is too many. You don't ever need 3 divines. Technically speaking, a team could get away with only having 1 divine. The reason being that the reason you need divine is so that you can bless, right? The reason we take 2 divines is so that then your divines can use more than just bless all the time in dungeon, right? You never ever will have a need for 3 divines. But saying that, if you have an ancient divine, like Bahajir and Roja. Hello, Eric! Thanks for following, dude. If you do have an ancient divine, so it just happens to also have the divine element, you can use that with 2 divines as well. But it's mainly just making sure you have 2 divine users in a team. 3 is kind of overkill. You don't need 3. And plus, Pengu's not very good. So, having an ancient in there is super important. Yeah, people, if you buy the shrine, you will not automatically get Chrono Hades. Please be aware of that. I know that the wording is really, really bad, but that's not how it is. Just like last time, you're gonna have to buy the shrine and then buy Hades. So anyone that gets misled by that, I hope you complain to Gameloft, because it is incredibly misleading the way that they've worded it, and you know that they've done that on purpose, which is just kind of scum, honestly. They did it the same last time. You unlock Chrono Hades, which means you unlock the ability to buy Chrono Hades. It's so ridiculous, honestly. 800 plus stepping stones for each dungeon run? I think you'd need to be hitting at least 1,000 ideally. 1k. If you hit 800, but sometimes you get more than that, then it probably would make gemming viable. But you will end up losing a lot of gems if you start gemming and you're only getting 800 per run. I think you'd still be able to get at least the main 2 dragons, but I'd rather see people at least get to 1k or be able to hit 1,000 stepping stones. But, you know, it does depend on your team. It depends on a lot of factors, but I'd say when you're around 1k, that's when gemming starts to become sort of worth it. Gemini, Alpha, Ra, and Hypnos a good team? No. No. Sorry. Same thing. There's no Ancient in there, and throwing a Legendary in there, if you're only using it for a short time, I guess. But yeah, you need the Water and the Earth and the Bless and the Ancient Leech. You need it all, really. Changes country every other word? What? Oh, you mean because it's like a mishmash of English and Australian? Yeah, that happens. All English people think I'm Australian. All Australians think I'm English. No one can decide. No one can actually decide on what they think is the case, which I kind of like. I do kind of like it. No one knows. No one ever knows. I probably should have put in spring cherries before. Can you just stop? I just want to select spring cherries game. Doesn't even let me. Is sumo good for a team? No. No. Especially if we've got the possibility to get Hathor as well, definitely not. Makes your head hurt? Okay, well, you don't have to be here. I don't care. Is the Fire, Wind, and Earth Dragon a good team? Yeah, very, very serious there, Dawson, I can see. Yes, very serious. How many costs the Hades Dragon? I believe it's about 1,400. over 1400. So don't buy Chrono Hades ever. Don't buy Chrono Hades. Don't. Just get Artemis and Newt. Get Artemis and Newt, which is going to be 2,400 talismans total. Get those unlocked. Get yourself Hathor. Get Hathor, and then you'll have a really good team set up. Arnab, if you spam again, I'll just perma you. I don't care. And no, I wouldn't say buying the Gem Island is worth it, because I've got nearly 700 dragons, and I don't need to buy it. So why would you need to? Unless you also have, like, 700 plus dragons, but I don't see any reason to. Check the full dragon stats? Why? You can just go and watch the video I made, like, 2 years ago. Fireball, Stardust, and Magician? I'm not seeing any... Actually, what are the Magician's elements again? I actually don't remember. What are they? VIP, hello? I don't remember. What are they? Magic? No. Oh, that was meant to be an A. Water energy. Considering that, no. You need Earth. You really need Earth in there somewhere. Emperor, Freya, and Polvoles? I would say just go for Hathor. Go for Hathor. That would be the best option, and then you can decide what you want to do from there, honestly. You thought I had Gem Island? No, I don't make pointless purchases for no reason. The only thing I ever buy in game at max is like a clam subscription and a shrine, and I'm not even buying the clam or the shrine. So I'm not going to have made a purchase in DML for like 3 months. I don't care. I don't need to spend money in the game to do things. How to get to 1200 talismans quickly? Cake Craze and Dungeon. Because remember, Cake Craze, you're going to have to wait for a lot of timers and things like that. The quickest way for you to get the most tickets is going to be redoing the dungeon over and over and over and over again. You love it, it's useful, I'm glad. You have to download the 20 gem event to unlock the event? What do you mean the 20 gem event? Do you mean when it comes up and says download the update? You definitely need the update. you definitely need the update to be able to play this. If you don't have the newest update, you're not going to be able to play it. Because it downloads all of the update information and the event information. Is Hathor free to play? Yes. You can get Hathor as a free to play player. You just have to be really, really diligent with the events and really, really diligent with the dungeon. You might have to use a few of your gems, but you know, you can get gems free to play. Like I went through a few different methods earlier. You can get gems free to play, and if you just use those on dungeon runs, 100% you can get Hathor free to play. Just like with the previous Divine Fest, we had Freya, right? And you could get Freya as a free-to-play player if you were really, really diligent with the timers. So same thing here. Any Cake Craze tips? Log in every hour. Honestly, there is no real proper advice for Cake Craze apart from only do legendary recipes, which means the only ingredients you need are epic and legendary ones. So you need to be logging in every single hour to try and refresh for legendary ingredients and legendary recipes. That is it. That's the entire event. It's just a lot of waiting. It's really boring. I hate the event, but it gives us bonus tickets. So if you want the bonus tickets, you gotta do it, right? How to get the Cyclops Dragon? You can get the Cyclops Dragon from the Castle event, which is going to be coming out next week. Because again, for most of these dragons, I think it gives a countdown for some of them, but like Cyclops, it's not going to display him in there, is it? But Cyclops, oh it does. If you go on the Cyclops dragon from, say, the Hathor Dragons page, in the bottom right it says, will be available in 6 days, 22 hours. That's when the castle event, the first chapter castle event is going to start. And then there's going to be a chapter 2 castle event as well. So you can get Cyclops in the first chapter castle event, and you'll get Pyramid from the second chapter castle event, which is in just under 21 days. Are Lisk/Oya good for a team? If you want an AoE user that's got super high stats, that's ancient and divine, then yes. Who's the one single dislike? There's only one dislike? What? Well, I'm surprised. Why aren't there more? It's 1680 for Hades, is it? I thought it was 1400. Either way, whatever Chrono Hades' total cost is, he's not worth it. He's not worth it. It doesn't matter what he costs. He's a lot more expensive than the other ones, so just don't buy him. I can't even check, because for me to be able to check, it makes me buy the shrine. I can't even check. That's how scum this is. That's how scum this Chrono Hades Divine Altar stuff is. I can't even check because I have to buy the shrine before I can even check. It's bad. It's really bad. This is scum. That part of the event is really scum. So it makes people think that they're going to get a free divine if they buy the shrine and they don't. You don't have a legendary dragon? You don't need one. Get 2 divines out of this event. Just skip legendaries entirely. You don't need a legendary. 70 per piece, is it? Disgusting. Either way, you don't want Hades. Trust me, you really don't want him. His elements are arguably, I would say, the worst in the event as well. Worst elements out of the entire event. Most expensive. Have to basically buy him twice. Super not worth. Do not ever buy Chrono Hades unless you've already got all 4 of the other dragons and you just need to spend more talismans. It's not worth it. DML is a big scuff. What is the most overpowered dragon? There's no singular most overpowered because most of the divine ancients, like, you know how we've got Frosky and we've got Emroja, most of them have the same stats. It's basically just who's more useful for your team. So for example, some people really wanted the earth element with Emroja. Other people, well, Frosky's kind of useless. But if you have Bahajir, really useful because water. So it mainly just comes down to which one did you need the 3rd element for in your team. That's the most OP one for you, right? Arnab, why do you keep spamming that? Yes, my name is Emily. Yes, people know this. It's connected to my Facebook. Why do you need to know? You like autumn? Energy is strong, wind has its uses, but the dragon itself is ugly. Yeah, arguably Chrono Hades is the worst looking dragon from the selection as well, so kind of bad. If someone has 23 out of 24 pieces for Chrono Hades, do you suggest? No. No, on principle. On principle of the fact that Chrono Hades just sucks. And the whole thing, and you'd still be wasting talismans that you'd need for the other dragons as well. So just no. Just no. IMO Lisk is the strongest. Again, it mainly comes down to what you need it for. But either way, we'll get another dungeon run in 2 minutes time. So then we'll go and do actually more gameplay stuff quickly. And we'll probably open a couple more chests. And then that's going to be all of the advice relating to this Divine Fest. Again, main ways to get talismans / tickets, dungeon, cake craze right now. Those are your 2 focuses if you want to give yourself the best chance. Dungeon, cake craze. Those are the ways. Emperor, Harpy, and Verdrake. You'll definitely want to get a few changes in there when you do get a divine. Or 2 divines. But as long as you've got the AoE from the Flyer, you've got the Earth from Harpy, for example, and plus you've got AoE from Emperor, and you've got the Water, you've got what you need for now. So at least you can grind the dungeon out, and grind it as much as you can, get some divines, replace a couple of dragons, you'll be Gucci. Is it okay to use the Autumn Dragon as a damage dealer? I don't think you should. I really suggest against that. Autumn has Shadow and Plant. And both of those elements aren't really that good anymore. They're not really useful in the dungeon, and you'd have to use witchcraft. And I don't think you're gonna get much use out of it. Thanks, Bonds, for joining us. What's the stream time? 1 hour and 35. Already? I feel like I've been talking about 5 minutes. What? This is what happens when I get distracted? Chat distracted me, no! But either way, you know, if 1 hour and 35 minutes of me re-explaining the same things in this event helps someone to understand what to do, then if a free-to-play player can get a Hathor Dragon, then it's worth it, right? You don't need to spend money during this event to get good results. But you do have to be very diligent in the events. So, I guess you could consider Divine Fest one of the events where a lot of effort and saving a few gems and redoing dungeon a lot can actually net you some good rewards. For me, I'm not really going to gain much because I'm not going to replace any of my team members, but definitely for newer or lower level players, these events are huge. They're really important. They shouldn't have added sigils, so Plant and Shadow is good again. That's never gonna happen. Too much money to be made out of the sigil chests, honestly. Please don't end the stream. I mean, we're gonna do a dungeon run quick. Or at least gonna do a dungeon run. Greetings from Indonesia, greetings from England. Do I have Chrono Hades? Yes. So I super don't need to buy him again. I super do not need Chrono Hades again, especially when they're charging such a ridiculous amount for him. You have Imroja in first slot and Bahajir in third. Who should you put in second? Depends on what you've got. You could do a lot of different things with a team like that, really. Some people would prefer that you just use a singular Ancient in there. Some people would prefer a Divine. It depends on how you want to use them. A lot of possibilities because you've got double Ancient, double Divine. So many different possibilities. Really, it's a decision you've got to make. Greetings from Wales, I see. Should you use Erlang Shen in your team? The only reason I use Erlang Shen in my team is because I needed metal to finish off the entire selection of elements. Not that that really matters anymore, because, you know, I've only got 3 mains now, but before I needed just the metal to finish off my, well, the metal and the void to finish off all of the elements in my team. But I'd probably suggest you not to use it and instead use the dragons from this current event rather than upgrading an Erlang Shen now. I think you would be a lot better off just using the divines you get from this event. What's the best sigil synergy? Wonder Acceptance. Or Witchcraft Acceptance 100%. Do I prefer Hierophant to what? You have so many divine enchantments? You say that, but are you sure? It might look like a lot, but considering you've got to upgrade to 12 stars and then you've got to do that for probably at least 2 dragons, you probably don't have very many. And even if you do, it's mainly the trinkets that you need for divines, so you probably don't have as much as you think you do. What's the best elements to use in dungeon battles because you can't last for 5 minutes? Like I keep saying, the minimum that you need for an okay dungeon team is an AoE user, so mainly fire or light. You need earth and you need water. That's what you need as a minimum. But to have an actual good team, you also need ideally 2 divine users and an ancient. That's like a bare minimum for what you need to have really solid dungeon teams. If you don't have a divine, then just use the other things outside of divine and ancient. But that's the ideal. That's ideally what you need. Or that's what you'd have in a team. That's what my team has in it. That's what most of the best dungeon players have in their teams, even though they use a lot of, you know, ancient divine exception dragons, but that's what they have in theirs. What was my first divine? Hermes. Dungeon is hard to play? I don't think it is. You just need to get the right elements, which can be a massive pain. It takes a lot of preparation, planning, a lot of team planning, which means if you've just picked dragons that you like the look of, or you're not really sure what you're doing, yeah, it can be a big problem. But if you do prepare your team appropriately, and you do know what you need for the dungeon, then you can get yourself set up with a really nice dungeon team really, really early. It's just, you know, not everyone's gonna watch YouTube content, not everyone's going to ask in Discord servers, things like that, so those players, I don't really blame them if they don't have really solid dungeon teams ready for an event like this, but, you know, I'm here to help people that want to learn. Because I don't really gain anything from telling anyone what to use outside of just trying to let them gain more out of the game, right? Lisk in Roja Bahajir sounds like a dirty team. It does, but you'll struggle a lot to decide which elements to use because, you know, so much doubling up. And if they're your only main three, you'll really struggle during things like castle events because you'll have so few elements to use. So yes, it's really, really good sounding for a dungeon team. But for a castle and other event team, it has major downsides. The Agave is stronger than my legendary. Oh, that's only because it was blessed. Only because it was blessed. Did you re-roll your epic cake? I think early on, re-rolling for legendary is sometimes a good idea. I sometimes keep the epic recipes in just because I know I'm probably going to need them as well. But you can always do, say, a couple of epic ones and then just re-roll for legendary ones after. But if you're going to need the epic recipe or the epic ingredients anyway, I think maybe take a couple to begin with and then work from there. You have 96 out of 120 for Osiris, but you like Artemis better. Well, that's the thing. With Artemis, it's required for the Hathor collection anyway, right? So most players are probably just going to go and get Artemis because then they can get an extra dragon for free, which makes sense. It really does suck for, poor old Osiris. He's just gonna get completely overlooked during this event because he's exactly the same as the other dragon. Like, why did they bring out two dragons with the exact same elements? I don't know. I really don't know. Why would you do that? It's so pointless. Epic cake. Wait, there's cakey. You want every dragon in the game? Oh, good luck with that. You'll never get there. It's not possible to have every single dragon at max level. There's just not the resources. Even the highest spenders in the world actually only have a few max level dragons. So, good luck with that. Especially if you're trying to do it free to play. Why don't I use my Ikaz dragon in my dungeon team? You say that as I'm literally using my Ikaz dragon in my dungeon team right now. And no, in all seriousness, no, if you're asking about why I wasn't using him before, the reason is because I can get more quests done with the lower level dragons. And if you defeat dragons with not your main three, you get bonus points when they get KO'd. So if I can get as many KOs as possible before Ikaz comes out, I'll get bonus stepping stones. So that's why you bring out the lower level, not your main team members first, and then you get bonus stuff, right? I think it may be possible to have all dragons now. It wasn't for a long time because there are a lot of region-locked dragons and things like that, but I think every dragon now is technically possible to have been had or, like, collected for a player. It wasn't like that for a long time. But very, very few people are going to have done that because you would have had to have spent a lot of money. A lot of money. 1 quadrillion damage? Yeah, it's not even that ridiculous anymore. It's just kind of normal. Also, I haven't really been focusing on the tasks enough because I've just been reading chat and Word vomiting. Oh well. Oh well, I definitely should have used Ancient there and Earth. Doesn't matter. I don't care too much. You know, the early runs are still important, but it's mainly getting the really long runs going later on that's most important, so they're going to be my main focus. No one has gotten every dragon in the game. I think there may be 2 people that I know of that had every dragon, but they're not going to have every dragon right now, obviously, because we've just gotten new dragons added with the update. So yes, right now, no one can have every dragon in the game. You are correct. The game should have another way to handle the events outside dungeons. Yeah, I agree. It's really boring, really repetitive, and still RNG. And it just screws over certain players, which I don't agree with. But hey, that's just DML, right? It's just the DML way. Use Dragon Fury? Why? It gives me 0 benefit. It literally does nothing for me. There's no reason for me to use Dragon Fury. It's like people always say that, but you've got to remember, because I'm using Wander Acceptance and they're really boosted, Dragon Fury is like useless. Like completely useless. What dragon do I prefer? You mean like what's my favorite dragon? Citrine. Because baby Yoshi. You like the old dungeon better? Do you? The old dungeon also sucked. It's like no iteration of the dungeon has ever been like truly enjoyable, honestly. It's always been bad. It's always been pretty bad. Which is kind of sad. Can you put Hellhound in your dungeon team? For a really, really short turn team? Sure. But you'll definitely want to get it replaced with a Divine and an Ancient. 100%. The best team you prefer with the present dragons in the game? Well, my preferred team would be like Citrine, Ceremony. That's what I'd want. Please stop spamming Kartik. You get warned about this so often, and one day I will actually just perma you because I don't want to have to see you spam again. What about DML has been enjoyable? Seeing people take clans really seriously, and you just see a bunch of like Indian children fighting and like arguing with each other. That's been really enjoyable. In-game things? I'm not sure. In-game, I'm not sure. Either way, we got some more stepping stones. Yeah. Give me those tickets, boyo. I'm not gonna open the blues, actually. I think I might just go straight for the purple and try and spam that. Even though, it's actually worth it to open up most of the blue chests up to, say, the last 2 or 3. I'm probably gonna do that towards the end of the event, is probably when I'll open those. Or the end of this dungeon week, anyway. But, primary goal, opening up this purple chest 5 million times. That's my goal. But let's go and open some more chesties. Chests. Would it be a good idea to sell your Autumn Dragon even though she's a much higher level? That's tough. Technically, yes, but I think ever selling a dragon that's a high level's a mistake. I don't know, you've sort of really destroyed your game. Sorry to say. People that take the game way too seriously and cause drama, yes, 100%. That's the enjoyable part of this game for me. There we go, we got a duplicate Rudic. I don't need another one, so I'm going to take the tickets. Got some ×10s, we got a ×5 for soft, which is lovely. And we'll keep collecting more talismans. More and more talismans. There's a ×3. So, I've collected like 140-ish holy talismans in this time frame. But we did have really short dungeon timers for now. But it's just going to be a lot of grinding, a lot of logging in because of cake craze, and then a lot of logging in because of dungeon. But if you want to get the dragons, you got to grind it out. So that's best of luck. I hope that you get everything that you want out of these events, but be smart about the dragons that you do choose. 5 hours? I was playing Monster Hunter for like 13 hours a day when it came out. 5 hours, is that it? Yes, Andy is dead. Rest in peace, Andy. It was good knowing you while you lasted. Think DML is dungeon giving you 4,000 trinkets, everyone? Well, that would just make the event pointless, wouldn't it? If you just bought everything immediately. Yeah, that seems pointless. Artemis or Osiris? Artemis. Buy Artemis because they've got the same stats, same elements, but Artemis is required for the Hathor collection. So if you're trying to say, ooh, should I get Osiris or Artemis? Take Artemis. So then you can get Artemis, you can get Newt, and then you can get Hathor. That's the best thing to do. Osiris is kind of pointless, this event, honestly. What if you had 1,000 sacred apples? Well, you can only use 5 per dragon, and they have to be at max level anyway, so it wouldn't actually be that good anyway. Enchant Andy? No thanks. If you hacker or not hacker, I'm not sure why I'm saying if, but no. Everything I do is just normal gameplay, you can tell, because I'd like stream it and record everything pretty much that I do. You can tell that I've not hacked my game. I've literally have so many videos up. What am I up to now? 2.5 thousand videos of DML? No, it's probably like closer to 2,000 DML videos on the channel. So unless somewhere in there you can tell that I've hacked something, which I haven't, then go ahead and find it, dude. Oh, that Twitch account is so getting banned. They're so getting banned as soon as I'm done here. What about my ceremony? Look, I'd love to make him max level, but with all this bonus leveling stuff and bonus enchanting and everything, it's making it difficult to make my lord as powerful as he deserves to be, you know? Yeah, you need to be max dragon level to be able to use sacred apples, and then you give them to your max level dragons, and then you've still got to use food to level them up the bonus 5 if you have 5 apples to use. So really, it's not very interesting, it's not very good. Kind of a pointless, just extra way of making levels slightly pay to win, which is like, why would you do that? I don't know. Ooh, I got a singular gem from somewhere. Yay, now I'm at exactly 600. Is 600 gems going to be enough for this event? Possibly, we'll see. It's raining heavily. Oh, I wish it was here. Oh, fine. I'll mod you after this. Just remind me. Just remind me. Newt or Artemis? I would say Artemis is useful if you need the water element, but Newt has a really good set of AoE attacks, but you'll probably just want to replace Newt with Hathor if you get it. If you've, say, got no divines, you'd probably just want to replace it with Hathor. So, I think overall, because of that, probably Artemis. But it completely depends on your team. Don't just go, okay, that means that Artemis is better than Newt. No, that's not how that works. It completely depends on what you need for your team and what synergizes with what you need to make a good dungeon and map team, okay? Don't just go, ooh, Artemis is better. That's not how that works. It doesn't work in my Streamlabs multi-stream chap, sorry Slacks. How much dragon level 100 do I have? I don't know actually. I don't know. How many do I have? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 level 100 plus dragons. Which isn't that many, but you know, level 100 isn't even max level anymore, so level 100 doesn't really mean anything. They already have Artemis, that means they must have wasted a lot of gems. If that's the case, they have wasted a lot of gems. I don't have 8, I've got 7. 7, unless I can't count, but I'm pretty sure that's 7. Am I actually mathematically literate? Newt or Hathor on design? I'd say Newt. 100% Newt. Not 8. No, no, no. That looks like 7 to me. Am I crazy? Can someone tell me if I'm crazy? He? Yes, I refer to Hathor as he. My Hathor, when I get it, will be canonically male, and my Nezha will be canonically female. Don't at me. How many ancients do I have? Not that many. Not many. I don't know. Let's get rid of magic, because I'm not searching for magic or midgic anymore. No, get rid of magic! I have, 10. Yeah, that's 10. I've got 10 ancients. It's not very many. You love Saini? Well, unfortunately he's not very useful anymore. So, rest in peace, Saini, right? Is Lozra better than Ikez? Depends. Again, like most Ancients and Divines, it depends on what your team needs specifically. What sort of AoE it needs. What healing, if it needs healing, if it needs shielding, if you're trying to pick a different dragon. Completely depends on your team. I wouldn't say overall Lozra is better than Ikez. It's just they have different elements, so they do different things for a team. Salute to free the Apollo dragon. Well, he's already been freed. Where are my frees? Hello? Free, free 2, free 3, and free 4. Hello? All of the Apollos. Hello? Free, free 2, free 3, and free 4. You found a hacker and you have 3 screenshots. Can you send them to me? No, send them to Gameloft yourself. It won't help you sending them to me and then getting me to do it. In fact, I think it's got more authenticity if you send it yourself. Send it to Gameloft support or send it to... Yes, you could send it to one of the CMs, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to send it to Gameloft support. Can a level 70 dragon finish the normal campaign map? A level 70? Yes. Why don't I have Yamad? Because I'm not a fan of wasting my money for absolutely no reason. That's the simple answer. Why would you buy Yamad? Yamad is bad. Yamad is not a good dragon. Yamad's stats suck. And Yamad's elements aren't particularly good. So why the heck would I buy it? Why would I do it? Only players that like wasting their gems would buy Yamad when I've got another 10 dragons to select that are ancients, and plus I've got Imroja. In what world would I ever pick Yamad when I have Imroja? When is the castle event? A week from now. It'll be starting next week. How many divines? God, does it matter how many specifically? Does it matter? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 20. Like 25. Roughly 25 divines is how many I have. But then I've obviously got a lot of duplicates, so an extra 4 of those being Apollo dragons. There should be a gold ancient dragon, should there? Why don't you tell him that? Hello? I have so much money. No, I don't. I have barely any. I keep running out of cash because I keep not doing my blue map fights and I keep not being able to purchase food. I actually have so little gold. It's unreal. I keep running out. It's so depressing. I keep running out of gold. No! I thought I'd never get to this stage, but that's what I get for not doing my map battles. What's castle event? You could just search up quackalakes castle event. I've got like 700 guides on the channel for castle events. You could see what style of event they are through that. It's the one where you've got levels where you have to find the key to get to the next level. How many dragons do I have? 662 on this account. Have I ever played with my friends, like real life friends? What, DML? No, I think I'd rather never ever tell someone else that I play DML because it's not a good look. The interval of making a new ancient event is 2 months. They are going to make an ancient shadow probably eventually they'd be due to make one because they said they wanted to go through every single element, as in every ancient event's going to have a new element, right? But Shadow is not going to be very well liked. Do I know Dragon City? Yes, I played the game like, what, 10 years ago? Something like that. Maybe not 10. Not 10. Probably a little less than that, but a long time ago. But yes, maybe I'll get 700 Hermes dragons. I've got 2 duplicates already in, or 1 and a duplicate. I'll get another one probably from the castle event. Too many duplicates, dude. Too many duplicates. You want Bahajir to return? Yeah, I know a lot of people want Bahajir back. They're waiting impatiently for his return. He's just really good. Did you come in time? You're 2 hours late, technically. 2 hours late. You started when there were 242 dragons. Old DML used to be so much simpler. The logins just used to be for like solo events. It used to be so much simpler. Yes, I got a 50 Holy Talisman drop when I opened my first 5. Make another video on Dragon Sea? I think I'd rather vomit. What's my favorite dragon? Citrine! Citrine, I always lose where I've put him. Here he is. Citrine! Either way, that's pretty much all of the Divine Fest stuff and tips and things like that I can really give for now. Again, just make sure you're logging in for Dungeon, make sure you're logging in for Cake Craze and doing all the event stuff for those. Outside of that, it is just dungeon grind, dungeon grind, dungeon grind. That's what you need to be doing if you want to get all of the divines out of the event. Or if you just want to get 2 free to play, you're still going to have to be really, really, really often logging in. Seriously. Do you get the Eternal Fruit Tree? If you want to waste your gems during a divine event, go ahead. I really don't suggest it. What's your favorite dragon in DML? This one. I am sitting at, right now, I am sitting at 138 talismans. So, I guess we're getting there, right? It's only day 1. You have so many gems. I got all of these free to play. I have not put in a single cent into this game since the Ancient Event Shrine. So it's going to have been at least a good 3 months since I'm going to spend any money on DML. At least. Ah! I just lost my, my earphone, no! Well, if you had endless gems, well, you could buy anything in-game. That's it. But will Ra ever return? Who knows? Any dragon could return. Hello! I'll say hello, but I'm probably going to be leaving now. But I do appreciate you all joining me here. Again, if you want to go back to the beginning, I'm going to upload the VOD of this stream, and hopefully that'll help everyone out that's, you know, trying to learn the event, trying to get tips for the event. And if you're a new player that doesn't really understand what's going on, earlier I did try and go through it step by step. But if you're still confused, feel free to join the Discord server. I always send links just in case, because, you know, Discord's a lot easier to interact with people. So I will send the link in the chat. If you really want to continue chatting after I leave today, make sure you join the Discord server and people can help you out in there. I can help you out whenever I'm alive, I guess. But do I think new players should buy the talisman generator? If they think they can definitely get all of the unlocked dragons from the talisman generator, if you can't at least get the autumn dragon, then don't. If you can't at least get autumn, I'd probably say no. If you think you can get up to the autumn dragon milestone, then possibly yes, but only buy it when it's on sale. Do I stream tomorrow? Don't know about tomorrow, we'll see. But either way, my favorite dragon, why is it Citrine? Because baby Yoshi, that's all. But yes, I appreciate you being here. I will be back soon. The VOD will go up if you want to go back in time and see the beginning and see everything that I said at the beginning, tips, things like that. But either way, thank you, and I hope that you will be back at a later date. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.